A German Muslim sister during her graduation didn't want to shake the hands of the dean and received a lot of negative feedback because of it. And today I will teach you guys how to not shake the hands of the opposite gender, and we're gonna have a look at what happened.
So there's been a lot of chatter about this Muslim sister at a graduation ceremony in Germany who chose not to shake hands with the dean. The guy who shared the clip made a big deal out of it, saying something along the lines of, oh, shaking hands is haram, but taking housing, food, and welfare from Western countries is halal? And then the whole internet jumps in,
Allahumma
screaming, hypocrite, hypocrite. Like, seriously?
MashaAllah. Like, did you guys see that? Like, how he's like stretching his hand and she refuses to shake it? Like, MashaAllah. May Allah reward the sister for it. I mean, but what this guy here is saying, it doesn't make any sense. So he's saying during graduation ceremony in Germany, a Muslim woman refused to shake hands with the dean. Shaking hands is haram, but seeking refuge in their country, getting free housing and food and living on welfare is halal. What do you think? First of all, we have to look at shaking hands, okay? Is shaking hands in the law of a country? Like, can you get like a penalty or punished or go to jail for not shaking someone's hand in Germany? Definitely not. It's not in the law that you are required to shake hands. So if you seek refuge in a country and this is not mandatory or in the law, then that person that is here does not break the law. So it doesn't matter, okay? And shaking hands is also something that's new. Because when you look back, like you go back like hundreds of years ago to Germany and in like the culture, shaking hands is like an innovation. Like people back in the day, they did not shake hands of each other and they had very dirty hands, some people even, especially those that work in the farm, right? They had like mud and stuff on their hands. And during COVID, we saw that actually this is also the reason why like a lot of people are transmitting diseases to each other and stuff, right? So, but anyway, yeah, this is not part of the culture. If you go way back, this is an innovation, first of all, and second, this is not breaking the law. So how is that hypocritical or something like that?
Screaming, hypocrite, hypocrite. Like, seriously? Let's break this down because there's a lot of nonsense to unpack here. Let's watch the clip first.
نجما تشع بأنوار وأنوار مبارك فوزها حازت على شرف يوم النجاح بتتويج وإظهار.
First off, as Muslims, we're all about showing respect to others while staying true to our faith. For sisters like her, not shaking hands with the opposite gender isn't about being rude. It's about religious modesty.
It is a form of respect.
That's her personal choice, rooted in Islam. And isn't Germany supposed to be all about freedom of religion?
Yes.
If that's the case, then her choice should be respected.
It's
no questions asked. Now let's get into the second part of this guy's claim, where he's acting like using welfare or public services
She's a student.
makes someone a hypocrite.
How does she
Let's
have
be
welfare
real
though?
for a second. Welfare systems are there to help everyone who qualifies, no matter their religion, race, or beliefs.
Facts.
It's about being a legal resident, not about your faith. Are we out here saying Christians, Jews, or atheists who use welfare are hypocrites because they hold personal beliefs?
How about the Queen of England? Should she be, like, she's no longer here, but when she was still alive, she would also not shake the hands of like random guys, right? So should she get deported out of England back in the day? She didn't get deported, right? And there are certain, okay. I have a question right now. So if you're greeting someone with a kind greeting, why does this one need to involve any physical contact? And there's something scary I actually want to tell you about shaking hands, okay? I, as a man, can confirm this here in Germany. So I have done several internships at companies. I've been to college. I've been to high school. And there are a lot of men that don't even wash their hands when they use the bathroom. This is actually very disgusting. Like, imagine your wife or daughter shakes the hand of a of a man that just touched his private parts in the toilet, comes out of it without washing them, and then shakes the hand. This is actually scary, because when I go to public toilets, every third person almost, or fourth person here does not wash their hand. Like, it's like crazy. So you have like one guy come, he washes the hand, right? With soap. Then you have the next guy come in, and he just does his thing, right? And then he goes out without washing his hands. Like, I don't see how actually shaking someone's hand is a form of respect. I would actually say it's the opposite. If you don't touch someone, you show respect because you show value to them. Just like the Queen of England in the past was being shown value by not everyone being able to touch her because she's the queen, right? And in Islam, you could say all our sisters are queens, right? We can't just touch them. We have to marry them. And you're actually showing respect for privacy and intimacy to a person when you don't touch them until you marry them, right? That's why it says we should stay away from zina. It doesn't even say in the Quran you should not commit zina. It says you should stay away from zina. That means you don't even go near it, right? Like you don't go near to zina. And that's the thing, right? So you avoid any physical contacts with the opposite gender until you get married. And that way you give that person a lot of value and respect because you respect this person as being precious and valuable, right? If you have like diamonds or some very expensive jewelry, you don't just let everyone touch it. If you go to, let's say, museums and there are like crowns of former kings and this and that, they're actually in a glass box. You can't just touch them, right? Because they're very, very precious, right? And for us in Islam, women are very precious and you can't just randomly touch them. But the thing is this, like a lot of people are having a misinterpretation where they think this is a form of disrespect if you're not allowed to touch someone. No, it's actually the opposite. And let me now teach you guys how you should refuse to shake the hands of someone, okay? Let me explain this to you. So if someone comes up to you and wants to shake the hand, some people, they don't know about Islam, they don't know it's forbidden, it's haram, that you can shake the hand of the opposite gender. So what I, for example, do, and this is my personal experience, and I've heard this from others, you put your hand on the chest like this, and you say, no offense, I don't mean this in a bad way, but I can't shake your hand because of my religious beliefs. So no offense, but I greet you. Okay? So if you start this even by putting your hand on the chest and you say no offense or no disrespect, that person hears in your first sentence that you don't mean any bad for that person by not shaking the hand. If you use the word no offense or no disrespect, but because of my religion, I can't shake your hand. Then the first word they hear that you don't mean any bad to them. Like they know that it's not that you disrespect that person, but you have your reasons, right? So you should always say this if you're in an unclear situation. You say, no offense, no disrespect, but because of my religious beliefs, I can't shake your hand. You're out of this. And it's actually easier for sisters than for brothers. Why is it easier for sisters? So there's something called first impression, and this is what we all human beings have of others, right? And you could almost look at the hijab as a religious, how do I say, like a religious symbol in a way, right? So if you see, for example, a woman wearing the hijab and she doesn't shake your hand, some people don't even try that because they see, oh, she's wearing the hijab, she's a religious person. So if a sister, for example, does this and refuses to shake the hand of a man, this is actually way easier than for a guy because, first of all, you have feminism. It is widespread here in the West and in Germany. So women, they are allowed to refuse any form of physical contact with a man. They can even do the Me Too movement and say, oh, some guy harassed me, this and that, and they go to jail even though there's maybe no clear evidence or something. Like there have been cases where there were like false accusations made against individuals. So the women have feminism in the West as protection. So if they refuse to shake the hand, this could also be viewed as a form of feminism, right? So you have that. Then secondly, you have already visually the first impression, oh, that person is religious, this person is a Muslim. Now try to do this as a man. If a woman walks up to you and wants to shake your hand, first of all, she doesn't even see that you're a Muslim because you don't wear the hijab because you're a man, right? So the first impression is already a different one because she will probably think you're like everyone else as a man, right? So that's why I'm saying it's way harder for a man than for a sister that's wearing the hijab because the first impression is different for both, right? You see the Muslim sister, oh, she's a Muslim. So of course you take less offense. That's why it was probably very easy for her to refuse it because of what she's wearing, right? But as a guy, you don't have this sort of first impression. So you have to say in very kind words, and that's what I always do. No disrespect, no offense, but because of my religion, I can shake your hand. That's it. And there's no law that forces you to do that. You can't even lose a job or get fired because of this. Like, there's certain laws and regulations, but shaking hands is not mandatory in Germany. I don't know about other countries, but because I'm a German and I know the law here, it's not forbidden. Like, it's not illegal to refuse to shake someone's hand, and you can't get a penalty for that or anything, right? So yeah, this is kind of... I don't even know who invented the shaking of the hands, because that's an innovation. Like, hundreds of years ago, this was not even common. This is something that's in our modern day and age. And I don't even see any point of like having physical contact with someone to even show respect. I would say it's actually the opposite, because like I said, if you have something very valuable like a crown or diamonds, you don't want like random people go there and just touch them, right? So of course, like, we give value to women. We have to marry them first, and then there can be anything physical.
Because they hold personal beliefs while benefiting from a secular system? Nah. That would sound ridiculous, and it is.
Of course it's
also,
ridiculous.
let's not forget that Islam actually encourages gratitude and giving back. Muslims are taught to contribute to society,
Of course.
whether through work, paying taxes, or just helping others when they can.
Yeah.
The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "The upper hand, the one giving, is better than the lower hand, the
Facts.
one receiving." So yeah, the goal is self-sufficiency and charity, not sitting back and relying on handouts forever. And about Dr. Malouf, he loves to present himself as this champion of persecuted minorities and self-determination, which sounds great on the surface, but his tweet, it shows something else entirely.
He doesn't
Mocking
support
someone's
anyone.
religious
Yeah.
practice and dragging welfare into it just to stir division. That's not advocacy. That's prejudice dressed
It's
up
actually
as
against
concern.
minorities.
And let's not ignore the hypocrisy here. He talks about protecting Middle Eastern minorities like Yazidis and Christians, but why the selective compassion?
Yeah.
Muslims are also persecuted minorities in many places.
Yeah.
But he's too busy stereotyping
France,
to
for
include them.
example.
If we're all in this together,
Can't wear
like
the
he
hijab
claims,
anymore.
maybe he should start acting like it instead of fueling this us versus them nonsense. The reality of Twitter accounts like this is that they thrive on being as controversial as possible to maximize engagement and drive monetization.
Yeah.
Since Elon Musk's takeover, the platform has increasingly incentivized such behavior by prioritizing engagement metrics.
Yeah, we live in a day and age where morals are totally weird, right? Like, people are actually making a lot of money because of hate speech and stuff these days. It's insane. Like, you can like criticize groups or people online, right? And you get like paid a lot for it and stuff like that, right? And you can even lash out. Like, some people do this at like minorities, and they are still monetized on their channels, right? And I find this kind of like weird, right? Because if you, for example, join a big platform and you actually go at certain groups, or like, for example, he actually says something negative about this sister here because she doesn't shake the hands, and then calls her that she does like what like welfare or something. How is it living on welfare if you're a student? She just graduated. Like, what was this guy thinking when he posted that? Did he not see that this was in a school, that she's a student? She's not receiving welfare. So and what free housing and food, actually? There are school fees, and she has to buy the books herself. I don't think the government just goes to her home and says, here are your new pencils, and here's your iPad for school, here's this and that, whatever. Like, you have to buy it yourself here. Like, sure, the school offers like basic books, right? Like the normal books you have for your classes, and they are funded by the government. But all the other extras you need, pencils, this and that, you have to buy it yourself. So what is he talking about? Plus, this applies also to Germans, not just foreigners, right? Like, plus, we don't know if she's maybe a German revert or she has German citizenship. We don't even know what sort of nationality this woman has. We only see a sister in hijab, and she's in Germany. She could, for all we know, be a German even. Or she's maybe a second or third generation, and her parents came like 2-3 I mean, her family came 2-3 generations ago here. She could be like a third or fourth generation Turkish student, and they're technically German because they are 3 generations already here, right? So if their parents have the German citizenship, then the kids get it too. Only maybe the grandparents or the great-grandparents don't have the German citizenship. So this is kind of like strange because he doesn't know this woman, it seems, right? So it makes no sense, guys. It's very confusing.
Engagement metrics, likes, retweets, and replies over genuine discourse. Muslims, don't fall for these idiotic posts. In conclusion, the woman's decision not to shake hands is her personal right, plain and simple. And honestly, we need more brave Muslim sisters like
that's
her,
wife material
standing
right there.
up for their beliefs with confidence, even when people try to twist the narrative.
Same with brothers, though. This doesn't just apply to the sisters. So let me make something clear. It's not just that a sister can shake the hands with the opposite gender. The same applies for men. That's why I said earlier, when I don't shake the hands of women, I would put my hand on the chest and say, no offense, no disrespect, but because of my religion, I can't shake your hand. And if they further ask you, oh, why are you not shaking the hand? I find this offensive. Then you just explain them that every person's intimacy and privacy is respected a lot in Islam. You can't just go to people and just touch them and this and that. You must give them their rights, so you have to marry them first. You must give them something in return in order to touch them, right? That's why we have the mahr. You have to give something to a woman before you marry her and this and that. So you have to give value to an individual, and we respect everyone's privacy and intimacy in Islam. And this is a form of respect. And if you explain it that way, some people, there's also a way to do dawah, right? So if you don't shake the hand of someone, this is a way to give dawah, because if you point out that in Islam, if they actually do react negatively, if you point out that you respect someone and you give examples like I gave earlier with the Queen of England when she was alive, not everyone could shake her hand, or with like the diamonds or you find in the museum, why cannot everyone touch them? And that for us, like, human beings are very valuable and respected, women are very respected. We can't just use them as like a mat where everyone just walks over or something, right? Like this doesn't exist in Islam. It's all about respect and about chastity and this and that, right? So there's nothing negative here. There's only positive in here, right? And if you explain it that way to people, this also makes them curious about Islam. So that's a way to give dawah to people as well, right? And yeah, like, Allahumma barik, mashallah. This was good what this sister he did in Germany. And you don't need to be afraid to not shake the hands of someone, because there's no penalty or punishment for that. This is not mandatory in the law. There are even cultures where people kiss each other on the cheek, like, what is that? That is way too personal, and this is even disrespectful if you shake the hands of a man to the wife. So the dean here, for example, actually this woman is respecting the dean's wife even. Why? Because by not shaking his hand, she respects the wife of the dean by not touching her husband, because the husband is from her, right? And the same for the guy that doesn't shake the hands of this woman, because this is also a form of respect to her husband if this sister is married, by saying, yo, that's your wife, I'm not gonna touch her, right? And I'm pretty sure from the age, who knows, Allahu Alam, the dean is married, so she even gave respect to his wife by not touching him. Like, if we respect each other's boundaries and privacy, and we don't have physical contact with everyone but except our spouses, and we show the same respect to others, this is very respectful. The same goes with the hijab, right? We live in a very over-sexualized society, and I always say this to feminists and those that say, the Muslim women that actually voluntarily, yes, they wear it voluntarily, nobody's forcing them to, wear the hijab, they're oppressed and this and that, and they should like not wear the hijab. What I'm always saying to like those feminists, especially those that are married, why do you care for women wears more clothes and it's her own choice? Isn't that good for you because your boyfriend or husband has one woman to look at in a suspicious manner less, right? Like, you can't like just check her out like, oh, that sister, it's getting a few degrees more in here or something. No, he can't do that. Like, your husband has one woman less to look at in a perverted way. So be happy. The same goes for your husband if he accepts Islam. If he lowers his gaze, you feel better because you as a woman know that your husband is comparing you not to random women that are younger and perhaps more attractive than you because they are younger and you're already in your 30 plus or 40 plus, right? So he's not like looking at the women because he's lowering his gaze. He fears Allah. So Islam is actually a family protection even, but a lot of people don't get this. So yeah. But I'm actually glad this sister didn't do it, and I'm actually proud of people like this. Allahumma barik. And I hope more sisters can take an example from this sister as well as brothers. And yeah, if you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. And if you guys found this video informative, please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up. And I will see you guys next time, inshallah.